Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Sunday. If you call it happy Sunday, Bitcoin's crashing. Markets are crashing right now in the futures as well. We'll talk about possible reasons why that is the case there. But I hope you guys had a great weekend. Obviously, it was Thanksgiving weekend there, so we didn't do a stream on Friday. But miners did really well on Friday also. They had a great week last week overall, being we had 1 day off and then we had a half a day of trading as well. A lot of them did great, but right now, what's causing Bitcoin to fall in futures? We'll take a look at that, what the possibilities could be. We'll also take a look at how the miners did last week, and we'll get into Q&A here, and then we got new month starting tomorrow, December already. It seems just crazy here, how fast time flies. But let's get into it here. All right, as always, not financial advice for team only. Do your own research, full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. You know the drill. All right, let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin, because right when the futures basically opened up on the CME, things crashed here with Bitcoin, obviously today, going into Monday as well. So Bitcoin over the weekend was pretty muted, was pretty flat overall. We did have some highs and lows, but more or less, it was pretty flat. Let's see here, Friday we were down a little bit. Saturday we were down just a little bit as well. Sunday we were down just a little bit as well, 0.5 percentage point there. And then into the new day here on Monday, we're now down $4,000. And this happened like within an hour or so. If you look at the hour chart here, you can see first hour when the futures were open here, we had Bitcoin go down approximately almost 1% there, came down $855. Following hour, it went down $3,367, down 3.73%. Excuse me, it's now down 4.46% overall. So what's causing this? There's a couple possibilities with this that's causing it here. Let's take a look at those here, and then we'll get into obviously the miners as well, how they did on Friday and things like that. But here's kind of what I'm seeing at least right now with it. So if we look at this here, this is from Satoshi Tracker. Bitcoin started selling off immediately after U.S. futures markets opened for the week. Almost 300 million of longs have been liquidated in just 1 hour during the drop there, right? So we just took a look at that. We saw that that's happening there. So excuse me, what's causing it here? Is it the Japan 2-year yields, right? As they're jumping higher. Right, they haven't gone up this high since back in 2008, it looks like, when we had the financial crisis and the housing market boom crash as well. So is that part of it? Could be, right? A lot of people are contributing that to being a possibility of what's causing the fear in the markets there. The other thing that we do have here is, the tensions around Venezuela as well. So this is from Homeland Security News there. Update, did he surrender? Venezuelan dictator Maduro is reported to be preparing to step down and fleeing to Tehran. IREN under an agreement with President Trump, as reported by Brazilian CNN. So that's kind of interesting there, right? Is that also playing into the fear of the markets and things like that? Possibly. That could be another thing that's adding to the fears there. And then this week is going to be also pretty interesting as well, because we got a big week coming up for the markets here. We got Powell's speech tomorrow, right? Quantitative tightening ends tomorrow as well. We got PMI data coming out on Monday, ISM manufacturing as well. Wednesday, we have additional PMI and ISM data. Thursday, initial jobless claims, U.S. trade deficit, Friday, PCE, inflation data. So a big volatility ahead for this week. Is that also playing into it? I think so. I think it's all these three things playing into Bitcoin and the markets being down as well overall in this space right now as it is. So that's possibilities of the reasons why. Which one is contributing to 100%? We don't know, but I think those are the three reasons why things have been falling down here, at least right now, because futures opened up and everything fell at that same time here. So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now. I think it's just short-lived, hopefully, but time will tell on that. All right, going down here, we can see that Ethereum also is down quite a bit here, 5.6% right now as it is. You can see it on the 1 hour chart here. If we look at the daily on this one as well, this one is down right now, 5.6%. It's down $167 to 2,823. Miners for Friday had a great week. Bitfarms, ended the week great. Friday was great for them. Bitfarms was up 12.26%. Bitdeer was up 5.84%. Kango was up 2.74%. Cypher was up 6.27%. Cleanspark was up 12.27%. This one had a fabulous week there. CORZ was up a little bit, 4.39%. Hive was up 5%. Hut 8 up 6.21%. IREN, surprisingly, has been down on Friday. Was down 1.32%. Mara was even up 6.3%. Riot was up 7.82%. And Wolf was up 4.51%. The Bitcoin holders here. Companies overall mixed to a certain extent. Exodus was down 7.14%, along with Metaplanet there being down 6.5%. Everyone else here, except for Nexon, were in the green. Small miners here, Let's take a look at those as well, how they do. Mixed as well. Some in the green. Canon was up nicely, 9.78, along with DMG being up 7.14. Bitcoin ETF miners here, the miner ETFs were up nicely as well, 4%, 4.86, 4.69, 5%. So we had a great week overall. Ethereum holding companies did pretty good also. They were at least 4%, 2, 2, 8, 3% there. Other companies that we track here really quick. American Bitcoin was up just a little bit. Wi-Fi was up 8.12%. Open was down 1%. Oracle was down 1.47%. Nibius was up just a little bit, 0.19%. Soluna was up 11%. Bakkt was up 5.91%. Fermi was up 4.3%. And then Meta was up 2.26%. Google was actually down just a little bit, 0.05%. Amazon was up 1.77%. Microsoft was up. And NVIDIA was down 1.81%. Okay. Now, the futures markets here, pre-hours trading here. Let's take a look at where we're at right now. Miners are getting beaten down again. Bitdeer's down 6% right now as it is. Bitfarms here, let's take a look where that one's at right now. Holy cow. 9, 10%. We're at 8.33% down on the pre-hours here. Kango is down 9.33%. Cypher is down 8.13%. Cleanspark here is, let's see, maybe we'll refresh this. Maybe it goes faster. Down 6.49%. CORZ Scientific right now is down 3.29%. Hive Digital is down 7.74%. Hut 8 is, let's see where that one comes in at, down 8.04%. IREN is, let's see, down 5%, 5.02%. Mara is down also 5.84%. Riot here is down 5.77%. And TeraWolf is down 7.93%. So BTC AI miners are getting beat up right now as it is, along with the rest of the markets, it seems like. If you look at the market futures for NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, right, S&P 500, NASDAQ, Russell, they're all in the red right now as it is in the futures markets right now. So it's going to be a volatile start to the month of December here. We'll see how it plays out, and hopefully this all gets kind of squashed here. That's maybe some of the fear at least on that. Okay, so there's that. We covered all of it. We can see here Bitcoin right now for the month of December here. If we refresh this, we are down in the red again. So November we ended out being 17.67% in the red. Not a great month for us. Historically, those have been pretty good months here. And then historically, November being in the red here, we've also seen December being in the red here, right? So we had a red November back in 2022, 2021. Both years, December was in the red as well. 2019 and 2018 we were in the red, and we had December in the red as well at that point. The only ones that were different were back in 2014 and 2013, where those months of November were in the green. December's were still in the red though. So December historically has not been favorable to Bitcoin there being in the green. We'll see how we end up at. The one good thing is the markets overall, I think like 73, 75% of the time have been in the green on December. So December is usually a pretty good month for the markets in general, just not Bitcoin itself, it seems like. So if the miners have detached from Bitcoin, we might still see a pretty good run in those. But right now, everything's kind of crashing as it is. Like I said, we'll see where we end up later on this week for all this stuff here. There are some good things here. The good things that we do have here are, this is from the I can never pronounce this, Kobesi letter. Crypto's liquidity issue, as seen countless times this year, Friday night and Sunday night often come with large crypto moves. Just now we saw Bitcoin fall 4,000 in a matter of minutes without any news at all, right? There's really no news other than Japan, possibly, Venezuela, and obviously Fed talking tomorrow, right? So nothing else has really changed here, but the markets are the markets, and you got markets that are, well, they're being manipulated here, I think. They're asking why. Well, liquidity is thin. Then add this to the fact that leverage in markets at a record highs right now. Again, right, people are going leverage. Like, why do people go leverage? As a result, the sudden rush of selling volume leads to a domino effect, sell-off which is only amplified by the historic amounts of leveraged positions being liquidated. This crypto bear market is still structural in nature. We do not view this as a fundamental decline. And I would agree there. I think it's just, you know, the bulls got a little too greedy, went leveraged again, and, well, we know what happens at that point. So it's like, why do you go leverage? Just buy Bitcoin by itself. And then here we have also whales are buying Bitcoin below 100,000 here. This is from the Bitcoin archive. We can see here a huge spike, obviously, in the number of wallets that are greater than 1,000 Bitcoin here. That has been spiking. So whales are buying, which is good, right? And then we also saw, I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw it on X that Sailor is looking to possibly buy, but he's talking about green candles now. It's like, what does he mean by, or green dots instead of orange dots? Not sure what that entails. We'll find out, I guess, this week. And then we got this from the Bitcoin historian here. Justin billionaire Elon Musk said that Bitcoin is true currency because it's based on energy. The world's richest man, obviously. Yeah, and I agree with him there, right? You're converting basically electricity into Bitcoin, which is value, store of value at that point. And I agree with him there. So, I mean, we know a lot of people are obviously waking up to Bitcoin here in the past couple of years. A lot of smart people, a lot of very, very wealthy people as well. And that's going to continue on here. We'll see going forward. But I still think we're going to be in an extended cycle with Bitcoin here going forward. But time will tell if I'm correct on that. Okay? All right. So there's that news that we have happening over the weekend, more or less. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and the miners, see how they did over the past week here and where they are from the 52-week lows as well. Right now, Cypher has outperformed IREN here in the last week, basically. I think IREN was number one as far as gains from their 52-week bottoms to their 52-week highs here. And Cypher has just replaced IREN here for the first time in a while. But Cypher's up 994%. IREN's up 832%. TeraWolf is up 652%. Bitfarms is up 417%. Hut 8 is up 348%. CORZ is up 172%. Hive 166%. Riot 160%. Cleanspark 134%. BitDeer 96%. Kango 29%. Bitcoin only 22%. And then you got Marathon at 21%. And Strategy only being up 5.8%. So those guys have been underperforming Bitcoin here. And you can see how far away they are from their 52-week highs as well on the bottom chart there. Going down here to last week's performance here. Cleanspark outperformed everybody here. It was up 55%. Right, they had a pretty good earnings release. Their stance on AI, data centers, and things like that definitely helped out, I think, with their narrative there. As they're working to build that out and things like that, I think that's helping the stock out. Also, them buying back 30-odd-some million shares, right? That helped out the stock also. But that was, they reported that early in the week. So I don't think that that was the case of why. Well, it wasn't them buying throughout the week that caused the spike in price here. I think it was just the good news that followed after their press release on their earnings and their conference call as well. Okay, so Cleanspark was up 55%, Cypher was up 44%, Bitfarms was up 43%, TeraWolf was up 37%, Hut 8 was up 31%, BitDeer 30%, Riot was up 27%, Marathon was up 17%, Kango 16%, along with Hive. Core was up 15%, IREN was only up 13%. Kind of a little bit of lackluster performance here this past week here. It's obviously been one of the best performers that we have seen over the past, I would say, 6 months or so. And Bitcoin's was actually up 7% there. Strategy was only up 4%. And when we look at 4 weeks time frame, well, things definitely change on us at that point. You got pretty much everybody being down except for TeraWolf being up 11%, and along with Hut 8 being up 1%. Bitcoin's down 12% from that time frame, and you can see how everybody else stacked up. BitDeer has definitely been beaten down here in the last 4 weeks, down 39%, along with Marathon 26% and Hive 29%, IREN even 23% here. Some of the better performers have been, like I said, TeraWolf and Hut 8. Even Cleanspark being down only 3%, Cypher down 2%, Bitfarms down 5% there. So they're getting some love here, it seems like, recently. 8 weeks, we can see another change here. Bitcoin's down 20% from there, along with IREN. Strategy's down 42%, Hive's down 49%, Marathon down 37%, Kango 30%. We got Cypher being up 20%, TeraWolf up 15%, and Hut being up 3%. Cleanspark's down 22%, and Bitfarms is down 17%. And then from the 12 weeks ago, we can see Bitcoin's down 22%, but yet we got quite a few of these guys that are in the green here. We do have some in the red. BitDeer is in the red, 17% down. Marathon's down 28%, Kango down 34%, Hive down 12%, Strategy down 47% as well. But we have IREN being up 41%, Core up 6%, Riot 2%, Hut 39%, TeraWolf 44%, Bitfarms 56%, Cypher 88%, and Cleanspark 46%. So regardless when you bought in, you should be still in the green for the most part, unless you bought in at the top of these guys here within the last couple of weeks. But hopefully you dollar cost averaging at that point, right? So things are still going to be looking good for us, I think, long term. Short-term volatility is going to be in play, right? It's not going to change for us. That's going to continue on. But in long term, it should be much better here. And we can see here that last week was obviously great. Everything was pretty much in the green there. Interesting part to take a look at here, TeraWolf and Hut 8 over the last 1 week, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks has been in the green the whole time. So that's kind of interesting that they've sustained some of their gains there over that period of time frame as well. And then you can see the table here as well. Weeks that companies are green and red and all that stuff. So that's going to be available to the Patreon members as always. I'll get that updated for you guys tomorrow sometime on a post on Patreon. And if you want to join there and get access to our private Discord server as well, that is going to be a link for that down in the description for it in the video. All right, but that's it. Not a great start to December. We'll see how we end up December, if it's going to be red like we saw in November and actually October as well. Yeah, so much for the bull run in Bitcoin. All right, let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say. We'll call it a day. We got a big week ahead. We're going to probably get some updates from the miners as well, the ones that are still reporting their monthly production updates. So we'll cover that as that happens, and then we'll get into other things as well at that point. All right, let's go to Q&A. See what we have here. See, everything's working. Everything's working. Okay. All right, as always, I'm going to scroll my way up and work my way down with the comments and questions. If you have a question, preface that with a question mark or Q. I would appreciate it here. And let's see here. Rawong says, with the exception of last Sunday, Sunday seems to be a day of sell-off for Bitcoin. It does seem like that recently, at least. Let's see. What else we got? Kamikaze says, looks like all the gains from last week are gone. No, I mean, a lot of these guys had a great week. We'll see if this week continues to fall even further there. Manipulated to the max every Sunday. Yeah, it does definitely seem that way. Freedom asked, are you able to see if Cleanspark was buying back their own shares or own stock on the move back to 15? I replied back to Freedom that it was actually, they reported on Tuesday, right, their quarterly results, or their annual results actually. And at that point, they already provided us that they bought back the shares then. So it doesn't look like it was part of that, as we still had, obviously, Wednesday trading happening along with Friday trading as well on those 2 days. So that does not appear to be that. Freedom says, market held up Bitcoin green just in time for Thanksgiving dinner so that mom and dad could buy Bitcoin. Now mom and dad are being liquidated for trusting their kids. Yeah, I'm sure we had conversations at our dinner table as well. After dinner, obviously, we talked about Bitcoin and miners and things like that with some of the people that are in our family. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys did as well. Freedom says 86 area should be the low for today, though. I'm waiting for 70s. You think we're going to get down that low? I mean, if we just hold that 30% roughly drop from the top, I think we might be okay in this range. If we fall below that, then that might be a signal that we are going into a bear market, potentially with Bitcoin. We'll see. Freedom says the demand didn't seem natural. Felt forced by Schultz to trigger short squeeze for some revenge. Well, I mean, maybe that was part of it also, right? But I'm thinking that was already announced. They already had the shares bought back early in the week here, so maybe that was some shorts covering there. All right. P-Invest says, what is causing the dip? Seems like we are in a bear market. This is not a good move. Bear market in Bitcoin, I mean, I don't think that we're there yet. If we fall below, I would say 80,000, we get down to 70,000, and I think we might be in a bear market at that point. But what's causing this panic right now, like I talked about, it's basically possibility of Venezuela, Japan, the 2-year yields there going high, and we got Fed talking tomorrow, and other economic data coming out as well. Bull25 says, hi, Sebastian. With Bitcoin in a bear market and miners underperforming, do you see them surviving the downtrend or resorting to stock dilution for capital? Okay, so they've actually done better here than Bitcoin has in the past, I would say, a couple months, right? They haven't been beaten down. They got beaten down here the last 3 weeks. But prior to that, they were outperforming Bitcoin based on AI possibilities. And I think if they can capitalize on that and actually get some deals or something like that, some more deals at least for some of these guys, they should, in my thoughts, they should, kind of deleverage or decouple from Bitcoin price action, if that's going to be the case there. So that's kind of where I'm thinking will happen. So if we do go into a bear market with Bitcoin, I see a lot of these guys still doing pretty well here based on AI potentially for them. Ryan says, thanks, Asia. Okay. Dan asked, price target for Mawr. I think Mawr should be, easily double from where they are right now. Yes, they do have a lot of debt We talked about that many, many times because of the Bitcoin that they bought there. I'm not a big fan of companies buying Bitcoin, especially when they're mining it at a much lower cost. But it is what it is. But even with their other operations, their sites that they do own, everything else they're doing, they should be valued higher from where they are right now. But yeah. Let's see. Bob says there's no verifiable evidence that Maduro has surrendered or fled to Tehran under a deal with Trump. Yeah, it was just a claim there. The claim in the image likely originates from unverified social media rumors or, yeah, I mean, there's no verifiable claim to that until he actually, shows up in Tehran or something like that he's out. We'll have to wait and see on that. But it's more on the impact of possibly the U.S. being involved in, I wouldn't say an operation. I wouldn't call it a war. I think it's just an operation to get the guy out. I think those fears, along with the Japan thing, and then also with some of the economic data coming out this week and Powell talking tomorrow, all played into it. Everybody was just like waiting for the markets to open, the futures markets at least, and then everybody was like, sell, right? Panic in the streets. Let's see. Kamikaze says last time BTC was red in all of Q4 was during a bear market. Yeah. Yep. All right. Midwest Island here. Question: what does a double top mean? Some are saying IREN is showing a double top. A double top is when you get to a certain point where you get to a price once and then you come back down and you go back up to it and you fall below it. That's kind of what the double top is there potentially. IREN, if we look at the chart here, let's see if we can take a look at that. See, when are they talking about a double top in IREN? Let's see, pull this up. See if it actually loads. Okay, so this is kind of what we're looking at here on IREN. So this is what they're talking about, double top, right? We had pretty much right there. This was back in October. We went down, we came back up. We got a little higher than that, 76. And then we've been falling down here, but we also have been bouncing here a little bit. So I don't know if it's a double top yet. RSI has definitely cooled off nicely on it. The weekly, I think, is still a little high on it. Yeah, it's still a little high. But we obviously were similar to that at a much lower price point, around $15. We're now at $47. So maybe this was a cool off that we needed here, and we go higher from there. Time will tell, right? If they come out with another deal for somebody or announce that they're getting more GPUs for their own business, that's going to send the stock, soaring some more there. And I think this one definitely has a lot of potential going forward, as well as they, have a huge amount of megawatts that they can utilize into 2026 and into 27 and into 2028 and even beyond that, I think. So I'm not too worried about that one. That one might be a longer term hold going forward here. Okay, let's go back here. Daryl says, question, loaded up more on Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and Hive last week. How would you rate them for the most future gains? Hive, love everything that they've done this past year. Great operations, all that stuff, great growth, love that. But the only thing that I've kind of always kind of knocked them on a little bit was them not having any operations in the United States, right? So I don't know if that's going to limit their potential for upside potential. They could still definitely do very well, but I'm questioning whether or not having any operations in the United States is going to have a little bit of an impact there. After that, you got Bitfarms and Cleanspark. Bitfarms has great sites in Pennsylvania. They're also working towards their Washington site to be AI data center for next year, right? Cleanspark bought a site in Texas. They've got great sites also in the Atlanta area, Georgia, that they could build out as well. So I would say, it's going to be tough between Cleanspark and Bitfarms. Depends when they get a deal with somebody, or I would say it's going to be dependent on a deal. When do they get a deal with the customer for those sites? But I think they both have really good upside potential going forward as well. Cleanspark right now, I think, should be still at least around 75% to 100% higher from where it's at right now. Bitfarms probably about 100% going forward. I think those two will do very, very well if they can build out the data centers, get customers in there. And then even if they go into their own neo cloud business or something like that, that's going to pump the stocks up, similar to what we've seen here with IREN as well. I'm not saying they're going to do that great, but they could. But yeah, I think they should be definitely much higher from where they are. All right, let's see here. Matthew Wett, or Matt, I think it's Matthew Wett. Question, is it better to own a whole Bitcoin or have an equivalent amount inside MicroStrategy? Personally, this is just personally, right, not financial advice or anything like that. I think it's better to own a Bitcoin outright than to be tied to MicroStrategy there. But that's just my take on it. Yes, we have seen obviously MicroStrategy do very, very well. At least last year it did great, right? It got up to $540 before it started falling, and it's been falling ever since. So based on that, I would say, but Bitcoin. I would go with Bitcoin. I would just go pure Bitcoin play. But that's just me. Okay. As for Ramani says, apparently China is going to crack down on crypto speculation. Yeah, this is for like the 400th time that they're going to crack down on it. I mean, we keep hearing stories of that every couple of months, it seems like. Dream Tank says more pain incoming to the downside. Well, it's definitely happening right now as it is, yeah. All right. As for money, I had 5 option contracts on Cleanspark, got rid of 4 at the right time. Phew, there you go. See, this is why I don't get into options or contracts or anything like that. I mean, these guys are volatile enough as it is. Escott says, wait until Wall Street sees this. Excuse me. Sees what? The selling happening right now in the pre-market hours in the futures. All right. Angel G's. Every time we go in green, the red man brings us down. It happens, right? You need the buyers and you also need the sellers, and they play off of each other. Let's see, BMC says, are you buying? Excuse me. I bought, what was it now, a week and a half ago? Pretty much when we bottomed out around 80-some thousand on Bitcoin that Friday. I bought Cleanspark and Bitfarms at that point, but I haven't been buying here recently. Okay, Rob asks, could it be that JP Morgan's shenanigans is at play here again? It could be. You're right. You don't know. Midwest Island. What's a better buy in stocks? What's a better buy if stocks go down Monday? Bitfarms, Cypher, or IREN? IREN, I think IREN should be valued much higher from where it is right now anyways. Same thing for Cypher, for Bitfarms. I mean, I don't think you could go wrong with any of those three, to be honest with you there. Some might run faster than others. I don't know which one's going to run, faster, like I said. But all of those 3 are great. Okay. It says I have all 3 by looking to buy more. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, dollar cost averaging into them. Not financial advice, but yeah. Scott says, let's see, Bitcoin under 86,000 now. Yeah, it's at 85,915 more or less. Yeah. Not a great start to Sunday or December as well. All right. But that's it. That's all I got for you guys. And it seems like we've caught up to all the questions here right now as it is. So I think we're going to call it a day. Look, like we've said before many, many times, this is going to be volatile. It's not going to be easy, right? If it was easy, then everybody would be millionaires. This is definitely going to test your grit, your not deterrence, your conviction in some of these plays here in Bitcoin and everything else that you own. But you just got to know what you own. And patience, I think, is also key in here. And if you believe that these things are going to go up higher because of AI, which I believe that's going to be the case here, I think AI is definitely going to be transformative in a very positive way, but it's also going to be negative in some sorts as well, right? There's never something that's just fully positive. There's always going to be a downside to something, especially when it comes to innovation, technology, things like that. Something gets hurt in the process as well. But yeah, just be patient there. And then let's see here. I can't pronounce your name. I do apologize there. Which miners has the lowest MNAV? I am guessing Mara and BitDeer. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. I'm going to pull that data in. I do have the data. We'll take a look at it tomorrow with the latest figures that we have from all these guys as far as number of shares and things like that. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. I do have that, so we'll definitely do that. And Scott says resolve. Yeah, if you have resolve, obviously, in these things going forward, could we go down further? Yes, we could definitely go down for a little while things settle out, and then we'll probably go back up here. Let's see. Creature Lost says, my patience is running dry. Yeah. Depending when you got into it. I don't know when you got into it, Creature. But depending when you got into these guys, you should still be doing very well. If you got in any time earlier this year. If you got in recently, then you might be hurting a little bit more than others. But that's the stock market. That's the way it works, right? If you don't get in good price points, you get in higher price points, you're going to feel the pinch more than others at that time, and that's going to possibly push you to sell as well because of that. So hoping for the best for all you guys as well. I hope we start out in the red here this coming Monday, and then we, go out to be a green week for us. And Creature says, been in it since 2022. Okay, so hopefully you got in at a much lower price than these guys, and you're doing pretty nice. But so even at 2022, if you got in right at the bottom of 2022, you're looking, you're doing great there, right? At that point. Creature says 2022, $2023 cost averaging kind of the same way. I did the same thing, and I'm still up nicely, right? Is it as nice as it was just a couple of weeks ago when we hit, highs on all these guys? No, but we're still up tremendously from where we were. So that's also helping me sleep at night. It's like, yeah, we're down a little bit from where we were. It's not great, but nothing goes up in a straight line to the upside all the time. So patience there, I think. Like I said, obviously you guys got to do your due diligence. All that stuff is implied, right? You have to know what you own. Where are things going? Where's the industry going? Where's the markets going eventually? I think next year is going to be a great year for the markets. You got the midterms happening here. I'm pretty sure Trump and company there are going to want the country to do well with markets, all that stuff, because it's going to help them out. So, right, short-term pain for much larger gains coming up here. See, Creature says I am up, just not like I anticipated, but it's okay. Shouldn't bought tech stocks. Well, tech stocks have done actually pretty good here, I think, right? Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all those have been running for multi-years, going up quite nicely here. Should have, yeah. I was going to say should have, yeah. Some of those guys. NVIDIA obviously has done great well as well. All of those things here. All right. Let's see. We got one more coming in here. CPS, sorry. Question, do you think the miners changing their business strategy, less demand on Bitcoin is just correcting the price? It's not, well, them changing the strategy does not mean that there's less demand for Bitcoin. Right? There's still only, well, they have what they have as far as operations right now in exahash, so that's not changing anything. You got exahash still growing overall for the market, right, in Bitcoin, so that's not changing there. It is just the market being the market right now. Unfortunately, we have a lot of people that are using leverage, unfortunately. That's causing others to short them or bring them down, cause max pain to them. And it's also largely, I would say, manipulated as well, the market itself. Especially in Bitcoin, things that can be moved easily. So, yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I'm looking at the last comments here. We got one more coming in. I think that's the last one. Yep. All right, we'll call it a day. We'll see where this week ends up at, right? It's only the beginning here. Maybe, like I said, it's going to be a red Monday, but we end up in the green for the week. We'll see. We'll see what also the Fed says, Powell, right? How does he sound? Does he sound dovish still, right? I think the rate cuts happening in December are still probably going to happen there. I think we're at like 86% right now from the Fed tool, gauging that's going to happen there. So, yeah, I think things will be okay. All right, let's see. Abby asks, how much percentage are you down from the highs? From the highs, I was down at one point, approximately 30% down from the highs. Sadie, thanks. Thank you for coming in as always. And yeah, I wish you guys a great week. Hopefully, we do much better than where we're starting out right now. But we'll talk about it all during the week, obviously, as always. But yeah, thanks so much for coming in, as always. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, bye.